Today, I'd like to talk about letting go as a skillful leadership and or just general work. Technique, tactic, orientation. Letting go is so important, but it's often seen as sort of a giving up or sort of this feeling of failure. Oh, I let go of sort of being at the edge or as sort of at the most intense sort of engagement. And I'd like to offer an alternative view to that, in that letting go is really an opportunity to allow something to emerge that we might not be able to conceive. From a leadership perspective, that capacity to hold vision and to be true to vision and to have the vision have integrity, and yet to see when and where it's appropriate and actually skillful in letting go of the vision and letting sort of new opportunities branch out, or new things that we couldn't have foreseen emerge, that when they do emerge, they actually help us achieve sort of the greater vision. So this capacity to see, oh, if I want to sort of play the longer game, which I think is a really important shift in letting go. There's sort of an appreciation of, oh, it's not just what's right in front of me that I need to consider. That actually, by letting go of maybe what I want in any given moment or what I think I want, will let me achieve more of what I want down the road, whether we're thinking in terms of an organization or whether we're thinking on a micro scale, just today and sort of our day's activities. What are we trying to accomplish today? Where is our not letting go, a rigidity that is actually preventing us from sort of achieving our overarching goal of the day? And it could be something like, I want to have a nice day. I want to be happy. I want to be productive. I want to get my work done. I want it to be low stress if possible. And I want to be friendly to those I interact with. So maybe there's a sort of a general intention somewhere in that ballpark. Well, where can we let go of, our task list at times, or some idea of how we think it should go? This capacity to let go in this micro sense is really important just to our peace of mind and our sanity throughout the day. How can I do that in a way that actually is most skillful? And it might not all be answered by how smart or clever we can be, or how much we think efforting to figure it out will be useful. There's a time when sort of taking a step back and sort of giving it space, stepping away from it, letting go of it, can really be the most useful course of action. It's so very essential to at least consider that as a possibility. And at times it's frightening. At times it's like, oh, I feel like I'm giving up, or I don't care, or oh, I'm not doing due diligence. But again, sometimes the best we can do is to leave it alone, let it go for a little while. This is especially difficult for founders of companies. Well, we have some idea of what sort of the direction we're heading, but that's not always the best direction necessarily. So there's also sort of an internal decision that needs to be made. What is so valuable or so essential and core that it shouldn't be let go? And then where can I sort of, let it be, let it alone for a while, and that opens new doors. Real growth comes from change, and real growth comes from letting go. Ask any parent. I'm sure many of you are parents. Some of you may not be yet. Some of you may have decided not to be at all. But whenever you give birth to something and nurture something, if you really want it to be free, if you really want it to sort of like be self-sustaining and have self-confidence, if it's another person, there's this stage when you let them fail. You let them figure it out on their own. And so the same is true in our professional life. How do we let go of our projects and our babies in a way that really lets them flourish, lets them find their own legs? Again, easier said than done, but I think it's a really important thing for each of us, regardless of whether we're a leader of teams or a leader of ourselves. We're all leaders. How do we do this in a way that's in the greatest service of a greater goal? And I invite you over the next day to weeks to years to experiment, to explore, like, where can I back away a little bit from this? And can I do that in a way that isn't abandoning it, but is giving it more space to flourish? And that's not always valued in companies. That's not always seen. That's not always appreciated. It's always the stuff we do that's appreciated, right? And those are the people that get the awards. But what about the person, or what about the action that is actually not doing? That can be really valuable too. That decision not to overly futz or fiddle with something and to leave it alone and to let it go can often be the reason a new project soars.